Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. And if that is true, then perhaps we have never truly lost anyone at all. I have spent my life studying the language of the universe, light, time, gravity, the invisible architecture that holds the stars in place. And yet, the question that haunts me most is not one of mathematics. It is this: what happens when someone we love disappears from view? We say they are gone. We weep as though something has been erased from existence. But the universe does not erase. It does not forget. It only rearranges. You see, everything that has ever existed still exists. The first law of thermodynamics is not merely a principle for physicists. It is a promise. Energy transforms, but it never vanishes. The warmth of a hand, the light in someone's eyes, the laughter that once filled a room. These are not abstract things. They are energy, and energy is eternal. When a flame is extinguished, we do not mourn the fire as lost. It has become heat, become motion, become part of the air. The universe has simply taken what was visible and woven it into something invisible. The pattern continues. Nothing ends. It only changes form. I think often of my own mother, of friends who have walked ahead of me into that strange country we call death. Where are they now? Not gone, transformed. The atoms that once made their bones now dance in soil, in trees, in rain. The energy that animated their thoughts now hums in the great symphony of existence. They are not less real. They are simply elsewhere, woven into the fabric of everything. This is not sentiment. This is physics. And yet, physics has led me to the most sentimental conclusion of all, that love, too, is a form of energy. It moves between people. It changes us. And when the one we love is no longer beside us, that energy does not disappear. It remains. It transforms. It lives on in us, in memory, in the way we move through the world differently because they once moved through it with us. Time, I have shown, is not what we think it is. Past, present, future. These are illusions, however persistent. Everything that has ever happened is still happening, somewhere in the vast geometry of space-time. Your grandmother's laughter on a summer afternoon in 1943, it is still occurring, still real, still vibrating in the structure of the cosmos. We simply cannot see it from where we stand. Death, then, is not an ending. It is a horizon, a limit of perception, not of existence. When someone steps beyond that horizon, we cannot follow with our eyes, but they have not ceased to be. They have only moved into a part of the universe we cannot yet see. And perhaps, though I say this not as a scientist but as a man who has loved and lost, perhaps consciousness itself is a form of energy that the universe cannot destroy. I do not know. But I know this: the universe is far stranger, far more generous than we imagine. It does not waste, it does not forget, it transforms everything into something new. So when you mourn, mourn not because they are gone, but because you cannot yet see where they have gone. Mourn the limits of your perception, not the limits of their existence. They are still here, in the wind, in the light, in you. The universe is not a place of endings. It is a place of infinite transformation, and if that is true, and I believe with all my heart that it is, then we have never truly lost anyone. We have only loved them into a new form of being. And that, my friends, is the most comforting truth I have ever found. Energy is eternal and transforms, never disappears. The first law of thermodynamics means that nothing truly ends. People we've lost haven't vanished. They've simply transformed into different forms of energy that continue to exist in the universe. Warmth, light, atoms in nature. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. And if that is true, then perhaps we have never truly lost anyone at all. You know, I have spent many years staring at equations that describe the behavior of light, of atoms, of the vast machinery of stars. And yet, the most beautiful equation I have ever encountered is also the simplest. Energy is conserved. It does not come from nothing. It does not vanish into nothing. It only changes its costume, so to speak, and walks onto a different stage. This is not poetry. This is the first law of thermodynamics. But I confess, the older I become, the more it feels like poetry to me. When I was a young man, I thought this law was merely a useful tool, something to help us predict the motion of particles, the flow of heat, the conversion of fuel into work. But now, having lived long enough to bury friends, to watch summer turn to winter and back again, to see children become parents and parents become memories, now I see that this law is not just about particles. It is about everything. It is about us. Consider a candle. You light it, and for a time there is a small steady flame. It flickers, it dances, and then, after some hours, it goes out. We say the flame is gone, but where did it go? Did it simply cease to exist? No. The flame became heat. It became light that traveled across the room and warmed your face. It became carbon dioxide, water vapor, invisible gases that mingled with the air. The energy that was once a visible, bright thing is now scattered, transformed, woven into 1,000 invisible threads, but it is still here, every bit of it. The universe has not lost a single ounce of that flame's existence. It has only redistributed. Now I ask you, if this is true of a candle, why would it not be true of a person? A human being is, after all, a rather complicated candle. We burn with a different kind of flame, not of wax and wick, but of biochemistry, of electrical impulses in the brain, of warmth generated by a beating heart. And when that flame goes out, we weep. We say the person is gone. We feel the absence like a wound. But the universe does not recognize absence. It only recognizes transformation. The atoms that once formed a body do not vanish. They return to the earth, to the air, to the water. They become part of trees, of flowers, of the rain that falls on a summer afternoon. The carbon that was once in someone's bones may, in time, become part of a blade of grass. The oxygen that filled their lungs may be breathed in by a child not yet born. The energy that animated their cells, the warmth, the motion, the mysterious spark we call life, it does not disappear. It spreads outward, like ripples on a pond, rejoining the great ocean of energy that is the universe itself. I think this is what we forget in our grief. We think of death as subtraction, as though the universe has taken something away from us and left a hole. But the universe does not subtract, it only rearranges. What we perceive as loss is simply transformation on a scale too large, too scattered for us to follow with our eyes. And yet, we can follow it with our minds. We can understand, even if we cannot see, that the person we loved has not been erased. They have been redistributed. Their energy continues. Their atoms continue. The light they reflected, the heat they radiated, the countless small influences they had on the world. All of this persists, woven now into the fabric of everything. I remember my mother's hands, strong hands, gentle hands. Where are those hands now? The atoms that formed them are elsewhere, in soil perhaps, in air, in water, but they are not gone. Time and death are illusions of perception, not reality. Einstein's theory shows that past, present and future coexist in space-time. Death is merely a horizon, a limit of what we can see, not an actual ending. What we perceive as gone still exists beyond our current view. Time and death are illusions of perception, not reality. You see, we live our lives with a very stubborn conviction that time flows, that it moves from past to present to future, like a river carrying us along. Yesterday is gone, we say. Tomorrow has not yet arrived, and this moment, this single fleeting now, is all that exists. But I must tell you gently that this is not quite true. Time does not flow, it sits, all of it, at once, like a vast landscape that we experience only one small piece at a time. Imagine you are walking through a valley. Behind you, the hills you have already crossed. Ahead, the mountains you have not yet climbed. You can only see where you stand. But the hills behind you have not ceased to exist simply because you have moved past them. They are still there, solid and real, even though you can no longer touch them. This is what I mean when I say that past, present and future are illusions. Not illusions in the sense that they are false, but illusions in the sense that they are tricks of perspective. What we call the past is simply a region of space-time we can no longer visit. What we call the future is a region we have not yet reached. But all of it exists simultaneously in the grand four-dimensional structure of the universe. This changes everything about death, you see. When someone dies, we say they are gone. We say they no longer exist. But this is only because we are trapped in our small, moving window of perception. We are like travelers on a train, watching the countryside pass by. When a beloved tree disappears behind us, we do not say the tree has been destroyed. We simply say we can no longer see it. So it is with those we have lost. They have not vanished from existence. They have only moved beyond the horizon of our present moment. But in the great landscape of space-time, they are still there. Your grandmother's laughter on that summer afternoon in 1943, it is still occurring, still real, still vibrating in the structure of the cosmos. You simply cannot turn around far enough to see it anymore. Death, then, is not an ending. It is a horizon, a limit not of existence but of perception. We mourn not because they have ceased to be, but because we cannot follow where they have gone. Not yet. Love and memory are forms of energy that persist. The connections we form and the love we share are real energies that don't disappear when someone dies. They transform and live on within us, changing how we move through the world, making loss not an ending but a transformation into a new form of existence. Love and memory are forms of energy that persist. Now, I must admit something that may surprise you. I have spent my life measuring things that can be measured, the speed of light, the curvature of space, the mass of distant stars. And yet, the thing I find most real, most undeniable, is something I cannot measure at all, love. This troubles me, in a way. As a scientist, I am supposed to trust only what can be weighed, counted, observed. But love, how does one weigh love? How does one put tenderness under a microscope or capture devotion in an equation? And yet, I cannot deny its reality. Love moves through the world like a force. It changes people. It alters the course of lives. A mother lifts a car to save her child. Where did that strength come from? A man writes letters every day for 50 years to a woman who once smiled at him. What engine drives such persistence? This is energy, is it not? Energy in motion. Energy that does work upon the world. When someone we love dies, we feel the loss acutely. But consider what remains. The way you hold your coffee cup. Did your father hold his that way? The phrase you use when comforting a friend. Did your grandmother say it first? The courage you summon in moments of fear. Is it entirely yours, or is it also theirs, passed to you like a flame from one candle to another? I think memory is not merely a recording. It is a form of energy transfer. When someone teaches you to tie your shoes, to cook a meal, to laugh at yourself, they are giving you energy. They are putting something of themselves into you. And when they die, that energy does not vanish. It continues to move, to work, to shape the world through your hands, your voice, your choices. This is what we mean when we say someone lives on in us. It is not a metaphor, it is physics. Though physics has not yet learned to measure it properly. I loved a woman once who told me that grief is love with nowhere to go. I think she was wrong, gently wrong. Grief is love that is still going somewhere. It is moving through you, changing you, making you into someone who carries that person forward. The energy persists, the connection remains. You are not the same person you would have been without them, and that difference, that transformation, is the proof. And so I return to where we began. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. This is not merely a law of physics. It is a map of hope drawn in the language of the universe itself. When you miss someone, remember this. They have not disappeared. They have scattered into everything. They are in the morning light, in the earth beneath your feet, in the very atoms that make up your tears. The energy that once made them laugh, think, love, it continues, woven now into the infinite tapestry of existence. Death is not the end. It is a transformation we do not yet fully understand. And until we meet them again, in whatever form the universe takes next, we carry them forward, in our memories, in our actions, in the way their love still moves through us like light through space. They are not gone, they are simply everywhere. now. And that, I think, is enough.